Do you feel that connection, James, that little twist in your stomach when you're talking about your family and you're not sure if the words you use are right?
Oh, Emma, absolutely. It's like I know the feeling, but when I translate it from Urdu in my mind, the English comes out wrong, like very wrong. I feel like I'm making a silly mistake and it stops me. It stopped me talking.
That stops me from talking is what you mean. See? That tiny, simple sentence, and already we've hit that roadblock. Do you still make those little everyday English mistakes, especially when you talk about something so personal, so important, like your mom, your dad, your children?
Yes, and I think it's because we think in our mother tongue and we translate, right? Today, we are going to open up that painful box of daily English mistakes about family and correct them, one simple step at a time. No more awkward silences at the office water cooler when someone asks about your in-laws.
Exactly. We promise you, by the end of this conversation, those common, subtle, daily English mistakes about family that you hear every single day, you'll not only fix them, but you'll understand why they are mistakes. Let's start, James. Let's start with a very common, very simple one. When people ask, how many members are there in your family?
Yes, and the typical answer is, my family has 5 members. Is that right, Emma? My family has 5 members?
It's understandable, James, but it's not the most natural or correct English. Saying, my family has 5 members is a direct word-for-word translation from Urdu. The mistake here is the structure. We don't usually say members in this context. A much more natural and correct way is to say, there are 5 people in my family. Can you try that?
There are 5 people in my family. Okay, so not my family has 5 members, but there are 5 people in my family. I understand, it sounds much smoother. Why is members a mistake here, if I can ask?
Members is usually used for a team, a club, or an organization, like he is a member of the cricket team. For a family, we simply use people, or you could even say, I have a family of 5. Say that one.
I have a family of 5. That's very neat. So I will avoid saying my family has 5 members. I will say there are 5 people in my family, or I have a family of 5. That's mistake number 1 corrected.
Let's move on to talking about our parents. This is where I hear a very confusing mistake. People often say, my father is a government employee, and my mother is a house lady. What is the mistake here, James? My mother is a house lady.
I hear that all the time, Emma. House lady is another direct translation. It means someone who manages the house, right? But the correct term in English is a homemaker, or more commonly, a housewife. But let's use the respectful and modern one, homemaker. So I should say, my mother is a homemaker.
Perfect. My mother is a homemaker. Now, what about the first part? My father is a government employee. Is that perfectly fine?
It is technically correct, but again, to make it sound more natural, more like a native speaker, you can say, my father works for the government, or my father is a government official, depending on his post. But sticking with the simplest, my father works for the government.
Excellent. So no more, my mother is a house lady. The correct sentence is, my mother is a homemaker. Let's try to put that in a small context. Imagine we're at a job interview, and the interviewer asks about our parents. How would you reply?
I would say, my father works for the government and my mother is a homemaker. She make the house very beautiful.
You made a mistake with the verb. She make the house very beautiful. The subject is she, which is singular, so the verb make needs an S at the end. The correct sentence is, she makes the house very beautiful. Try to say that whole reply again. Focus on the S.
My father works for the government and my mother is a homemaker. She makes the house very beautiful. Got it. She makes, the singular verb rule. That is a mistake that I always do.
You caught yourself there, James. You said, that is a mistake that I always do. That's another classic Urdu-style English mistake. We don't say do a mistake, we say make a mistake. The correct sentence is, that is a mistake that I always make.
Make a mistake, not do a mistake. Thank you. So that is a mistake that I always make. It feels unnatural at first, but I have to remember that make and do are different verbs in English. Make a mistake.
Yes, that's a crucial one to remember. You make a mistake, you make a choice, you do the laundry, you do your homework. different uses. Let's move to talking about our siblings. When someone asks about your brother and sister, what's a typical simple answer that you might say?
If I have two brothers and one sister, I would probably say I have three siblings, two brothers and one sister. But sometimes people get confused and say, I have two brothers and one sister. They are my siblings. Where is the mistake here?
It's not a major mistake, but it's redundant. Saying, I have two brothers and one sister, they are my siblings, is like saying the same thing twice. Sibling already means brother or sister. The most concise and natural way is what you first said. I have three siblings, two brothers and one sister. But here is a very, very common mistake I hear, James. When someone is an only child, meaning they have no brothers or sisters, they sometimes say, I am a single child.
Ooh, single child. That sounds a little off. Is it because single is usually used for someone who is not married?
Exactly. Single means unmarried. A person who has no siblings is called an only child. Can you imagine saying, I am a single child at a formal gathering? It would confuse people. The correct phrase is, I am an only child. Repeat that.
I am an only child. Okay, I will never say single child again. It's only child. My friend is an only child. He has no brothers and sisters.
Another very common slip there, James. He has no brothers and sisters. While grammatically correct, it's not the most common way a native speaker would phrase it. We usually use the word any in negative sentences. So the better, more natural way is he doesn't have any brothers or sisters, or even simpler, he doesn't have any siblings.
He doesn't have any brothers or sisters. Why doesn't have instead of has no?
In everyday English, using the auxiliary verb do or does with not is much more common for negation. He has no siblings sounds a bit more formal or older-fashioned. He doesn't have any siblings is the modern conversational standard. It flows better. Can you say, my cousin is an only child, he doesn't have any siblings?
My cousin is an only child. He doesn't have any siblings. That sounds much better. It's these small differences in sentence construction that really change how natural our English sounds.
Let's talk about marriage and in-laws now, which is a big source of confusion. Imagine you're talking about your brother's wife. In Urdu, we might say, my Bobby, but that doesn't work in English. What is the correct term?
The correct term for a brother's wife is your sister-in-law. And what about my sister's husband? He is my brother-in-law. What if I make a mistake and call my brother's wife my sister-of-law?
That is a very common and understandable mistake. Sister-of-law is a direct translation from a few languages, but it is incorrect. The correct term is sister-in-law. The hyphens are important and the structure is fixed. Not of law, but in-law. It applies to everyone. Father-in-law, mother-in-law, son-in-law, daughter-in-law.
Okay, so the whole family is in-law. My wife's mother is my mother-in-law. But Emma, I've heard some people say things like, I live with my in-law's family. Is that right?
No, James, that's another redundancy mistake. I live with my in-laws family. The word in-laws already implies the family. You don't need to add family after it. The correct and simplest way is, I live with my in-laws.
Ah, I see. So I just say I live with my in-laws. If I wanted to be more specific, like living with only my wife's parents, but not the whole extended family, how would I say that?
You could say, I live with my wife's parents. That's perfectly clear and avoids the in-laws term if you want to be specific about just the parents. Now, here's a tricky one. In Urdu, we often say, my cousin brother or my cousin sister. What's the mistake there?
That is definitely a mistake. In English, we simply say cousin. You don't need to specify brother or sister. So if I was talking about my female cousin, I just say, my cousin is coming to visit. I don't need to say my cousin's sister is coming.
Exactly. Cousin covers both male and female. Adding brother or sister is unnecessary and incorrect in standard English. However, sometimes we need to clarify the gender. How would you do that without making the mistake?
I could say, my cousin, Sarah, is coming, or my female cousin is coming. Wait, is female cousin correct? It sounds a little formal.
Female cousin is grammatically fine, but in conversation it is rare. The most natural way to clarify is by using the pronoun or their name. For example, My cousin is a doctor. She works very hard. The she tells the listener the gender. Or, as you suggested, my cousin, Sarah, is coming. Let's try to build a sentence about meeting your cousin for a work project.
I met my cousin today for a work project. He is an expert in computer.
Mistake. A very subtle, small one, but important for fluency. He is an expert in computer is incorrect. The preposition is wrong, and you need to be specific about the subject. You should say he is an expert at computers, or more commonly, a computer expert. Say the whole sentence the correct way.
I met my cousin today for a work project. He is a computer expert. Okay, so expert at something or an expert in a field, but computer expert is the most direct. I will try to remember expert at or just use the combined noun computer expert.
Let's move to another common area, confusion about age and